Good morning. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Good morning, honorable judges, fellow contestants, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to have you with us for the 2016 speech contest. We're the hosts, Stephanie, and I'm Catherine. And today we are lucky to have 4 judges with us. First and foremost, Professor Hong, who came a really long way from Italy, and he teaches in Department of Applied English at the National Union University of Science and Technology. Welcome. Next, let's welcome Professor Ruth Martin, who teaches in English Department at National Zhengzhi University. Welcome. Next, we are all familiar to our today's chairperson, Professor Peter Chen. Welcome. And finally, our dearest class instructor, Professor Zuo. Welcome. Once again, thank you all for your participation. Before we kick off today's contest, let us remind you some rules for the prepared informative speech. The judges will give their points according to speech context, language skills, and posture. The contest will be divided into 2 parts, prepared informative speech and impromptu speech. And there will be a 15 minutes intermission break. In the first section, each contestant has 5 to 7 minutes to deliver their speech. And we will have a short ring after 6 minutes. And after 7 minutes, we will have 2 short rings. And after 7 minutes and 50 seconds, we will have a long ring. That means the contestant should immediately finish their speech, or the contestant will be deducted scores. And after 7 minutes and 30 seconds, we will have 2 long rings. After the first section, our honorable judges will decide several contestants that are qualified to enter the second section. And now, our outstanding contestants are ready to start. So let's give them a big hand and welcome the first speaker, Mac.
Good morning, everybody. Distinguished guests today and professors and fellow students. Today I'm going to talk about reality TV phenomenon. So, have you ever watched reality TV before? Perhaps it's not so common in Taiwan, but you must have heard of famous shows such as America's Next Top Model, Hell's Kitchen, or Jersey Shore. In the US, reality TV phenomenon exploded in the late 1990s with the global success Survivor and American Idol. According to RealityShow.com, they both topped the US season average ratings. Survivor led the ratings in 2001 and 2, while American Idol holds the longest #1 rank in the television history, dominating over other primetime television programmings with 8 consecutive years from 2003 to 2011. So why do I choose this topic? Because I love watching American TV, reality TVs, such as Big Brother, Project Runway, and MasterChef, and so many more because they're so good. So I figure this would be a good topic for informative speech. So today, I'm going to briefly introduce the history of reality TV, some main categories, and why it's become such a global phenomenon. So first of all, I will talk about the rise of the reality TV craze. Starting in 1948, producer-host Alan Fount's candid camera is often seen as a prototype of reality television programming. And then things got a little more, this show features unsuspecting people, and they were confronted with funny or unusual situations while being filmed with hidden cameras. And then things got a little more high concept with NTV's The Real World. This show features, they will bring 7 to 8 people to temporarily live in one residence, and then while being filmed 24 hours non-stop. So you get to see their dynamic, their romance, their bromance in the house every day. So it's very good. And according to Complex.com and NTV, this show is still the #1 reality TV after all these years. So then next, you may think that reality TV is for physically fighting or verbally arguing or something, or drama. But actually, reality TV is very rich in their variety, and its diversity is one of the reasons why it's become so popular. According to realitytv.com, there are 4 main categories that reality TV shows can fall under. I'm going to introduce them. The first one is competition elimination style reality TVs. In these types, the contestants will compete against each other, and then in order to win the grand prize in the end. Big Brother, Survivor, and Amazing Race will fall under this category. So, for example, like my favorite show, Big Brother, they will bring 12 to 16 people to live in one house for over 100 days or more. And then each week they will compete in different games, and the winner gets to nominate another person. And then in the end of each week, the house guests will vote against each other out of the house, while the last one standing will win the grand prize. So this type of shows will usually for dramas, lies, betrayal, alliances, or strategy, so it's good to watch. And the second category is talent searches. In these kinds, the contestants will compete in specific talents such as cooking, singing, or dancing, modeling, fashion designs, really anything. And in every week, one contestant will be eliminated by the judges, while the last one standing will either get a job contract or prize money, something for them to pursue their dreams or talents. So examples of this are The Voice, which I'm sure everyone have seen it before, Master Chef, or Project Runway, and American Idol, which according to USA Today is the most watched show in America. And the third one is documentary-style reality TV shows. This one will follow people's everyday life. Most of the times it's a celebrity, such as Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where you get to see Kim Kardashian's everyday activities if you want, or the Real Housewives franchise. And the final category is dating shows. This one, they will bring people together and create events for them to fall in love or get married or propose or something. So examples of these shows are The Dating Games and The Bachelor. So there are so many categories like lifestyle changing shows, hidden camera shows, really any show for anyone's interests or needs. So now you might be wondering, why is reality TV become such a global phenomenon in America? Well, there's so many reasons, and one of that is that the produced cost is relatively cheap. Because most of the reality TV shows, they don't have a celebrity on it, so the set is cheaper. And even those ones that do have a celebrity, it's still cheaper than the real television making. So according to TV.com, recently a lot of shows are cancelled because they want to fill in more reality TV shows with their spots. And another reason, and probably the most common and important reason, is that people feel that reality TV seems to be real because they get to relate to the participants, because most of the time they're just ordinary everyday people. So you get to root for the person you love and see them grow in the competition, glow in the end, and win the whole thing, or boo for the person you hate and then see him get eliminated. It just feels good. It's thrilling, it's entertaining to watch as if you were on the show, and that's why people love it so much. And so, In conclusion, after my introduction today, I hope you will understand more about the history of the reality TV craze and some of the main categories and why it's become such a global phenomenon. So, most people like to argue that reality TV is trash TV, and it might very well be that, but it captivates the audience in America regardless. So whether you like it or not, reality TV phenomenon is certainly real. Thank you.
And Debbie, I can totally understand why the reality TV show can be so popular, because I am a total big fan of American Next Top Model.
How come their reactions are so exaggerated?
Because I love to watch them fight for the prize with tears. It's kind of inspirational, I think.
Okay, so let us now welcome our next contestant, Andrea.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Lee. Now, for my topic today, I'm going to talk about what makes us fall in love. What is to love? Shakespeare said. People have been talking about this delicate notion for centuries. Nowadays, it's even viewed as a compulsory course that college students must take. But, do you really understand what makes us fall in love? Today, I hope to bring insight to this topic by giving scientific information. Now, as you can see, this is my outline page. First, I'll talk about the three main factors that make us fall in love. Next, I'll talk about why we should know this, and in the end, I'll give a short conclusion to wrap up. Now, the first factor would be the ideal partner template we have buried somewhere in our minds. Although we've all heard of the saying, don't judge a book by its cover, don't judge someone by their appearances, well, the so unsurprising truth is that the most important factor that affects this template are appearances. Now, according to research, people tend to fall in love with those who resemble their parents, or sometimes even themselves. This is Dr. David Parrott, who is a cognitive psychologist and also at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. What he did was that he conducted an experiment in which he morphed the faces of his subjects into the opposite sex, and then he laid out a series of photos and asked his subjects to choose one he or she thought to be most attractive to. Now, the result was that every single one of his subjects chose their own morphed face without even recognizing it was their own picture. The second factor would be pheromones. In the animal world, pheromones act as scent prints. It's used to help animals identify each other, and most importantly, identify a mate who has the most different immune system from themselves in order to have strong and healthy offspring. Now, in the human world, human pheromones were first found in 1986 at the Chemical Senses Center in Philadelphia. The result was that human pheromones existed in sweat. So then a series of experiments were conducted in which women were asked to smell the unwashed, smelly t-shirts of men and choose one she thought to be most attracted to. Just like in the animal world, these women would choose a shirt from a man who has the most different immune system from herself. The third factor would be chemistry. Now, according to Helen Fisher, who is an American anthropologist and also an expert on biology of love and attraction, there are four main chemicals that our brain produces which affects our choices in love. The first would be dopamine. Now, dopamine is also known as the happy chemical. It's what makes us feel happy and addicted to something or someone. Then we have estrogen and testosterone. These two are present in both men and women. This is what adds the sexual appetite to the relationship. Last, we have serotonin. Serotonin acts like a neurotransmitter for obsessive thinking and behaviors. Now, Fisher found in her further studies that according to the different levels of these 4 chemicals our brain produces, people can be categorized into 4 different types. The first would be builders. Now builders are very cautious people. They have traditional values and they're very persistent. Next we have directors. They're analytical people who like to make decisions and sometimes they can be a bit aggressive. Next we have explorers who are impulsive and creative risk takers. Last but not least, we have negotiators. They're very intuitive, idealistic, compassionate, and compared to the former 3, they are the most selfless. Now Fisher found that builders and explorers tend to fall in love with the people who are in the same category as they are. As for directors and negotiators, they tend to fall in love with each other. Now, you might be thinking, why should we know about this? Before I answer that question, I would like to take a look at this chart. This chart is adapted from Tianxia magazine, and it is a comparison of households between 1994 and 2013. On the horizontal line, we have different marital statuses, and on the vertical line, it stands for the number of people with a unit of 10,000. Now, I would like to focus on the single group. As you can see, in 1994, which is the blue bar, less than 500,000 people are single. But in 2013, which is the red bar, almost 1 million people are single. This means that the number of single people have doubled throughout the years, and more people are becoming single. So for those who are single but don't want to be, by knowing why we feel how we feel, that is, what makes us fall in love, you can understand yourself better. And by understanding yourself better, you can know the person you're looking for better. And by this, you can have the advantages of not wasting time on the wrong partners, and also narrowing down your potential list for your Mr. or Mrs. Right. And most importantly, you can know how to be with someone who is truly suitable for you. So in conclusion, the 3 main factors that makes us fall in love would be the ideal partner we have in our mind, the pheromones in our sweat, and also the chemistry our brain produces. And by understanding how love works, you can know who you're looking for. Of course, love is far more complicated in the real world. But I hope by understanding what makes us fall in love, everyone can find their partner more easily. Thank you.
So, Danny, why do you want to fall in love?
Well, probably I would like to find a soulmate. So, do you already find one, Catherine?
Well, today is not about me. So let's welcome our next speaker, Ashley.
Hello everyone, I'm Asmi, and my topic today is augmented reality, a glimpse of a better world. And first, this is my roadmap. I will give you an introduction of AR and the advantages of AR and my conclusion and reflection of it. So first, I would like to start from this picture. This is Pokemon Go, and I think that most of you have downloaded it from the App Store before the past few months. And so by flipping your fingers on the screen, you can throw your ball and catch the monster randomly appear on the road. Yes, and this is AR. So I want to tell you that AR is not sounds high technology and sounds very difficult, but it's just existed in our daily life. And now I'm going to talk about what is AR. AR is augmented reality, and it is a high technology that can create virtual graphics to the existing world. So, in other words, it can create graphics and sounds and even smells to a reality world. And so the Pokemon Go is one of the examples, and it is not a new concept of high technology. It already appeared in many fiction movies and novels before, and I think that they are all good examples of it. And first one is AR in Iron Man. And I think that most of you have watched this before, so whenever Tony Stark has a new idea, he will use the high technology to create the designs he wants and in his hands. And he can enlarge it or draw them into the shape he wants, and I'm gonna to show you the movie of it. Okay. And okay, that's okay. Let's continue. And the next one is Star Wars, and it is an old movie and very classical movie. So it is a hologram of one people, and if the person who want to attend the meeting is unable to attend the meeting places, you can use holograms to project his bodies into the chairs, and you can feel that he's just beside you. And this is the other AR devices which is already appearing in our life. It's smart bracelets, and you can project the graphic of the cell phone screens on your hands. So in other words, whenever you are taking a bath or walking on the roads, you don't have to bring the exact cell phones beside you, because you can just use your bracelet and flick your fingers on your hands. And okay, now I want to share my experience with you. I don't know that whether you have the experience or not, but I do have been interrupted by technology before. But I think that AR can help us to interact with each other. I remember that once I was talk about my volleyball team's experience with my classmate, and we are going to talk about the most important part. The screen of her smartphone light up. Someone's lines. Yes, and so she picked up her cell phone and started to flipping her cell phone and talk about maybe other things. But she doesn't focus on the conversation anymore, and so it's very disappointing, I think. But in the other side, it is a PPAP, and it is a very hot song in recently. And you know that we will laugh at it and watch it together, and we will have very good feeling when we watch it. So I was wondering that why type technology can bring totally different feelings to us. And I think the key point lies in that whether we can share it or not, where we can have the feeling of it. And I want to share with the 3 fabulous advantages of AR. And the first one is no learning curve. And this is a traditional operating system of the computer. So whenever you open the computer, you will watch this. This is very abstract and very difficult to understand it. But with AR, you can put what the things you want into the place you want. Like, for example, when you wake up, you want to see the forecast beside your wall, so you can put the AR forecast beside the walls. And if you want to watch the TV programs when you are taking a bath, you can put it on the bath. When you are taking a bath, you can watch it simultaneously. Yes, and the second one is touch to see. So we can touch and feel our works immediately. So what if a baby is curious about something? We will touch it, we will grab it, and it is out of our instinct. So AR can help us to do so. And this is the traditional draft. It is 2D, and we can just draw it or point at it. But with 3D and AR, we can make it into 3D, and we can directly touch it, and we can even feel it by our ears or nose or eyes. Yes, so it can improve our working efficiencies. And the third one is connect with each other. So we can see each other's face in holograms. And I think that it is with eye contact or interact with others, so we can have the more connect with each other. For example, when you are having a meeting with yourself, by the cell phone with your classmates, maybe you can just watch the very strange screens, so you can have the feeling with others. But if you can see each other's face in the smartphone, so you can feel that he's just beside you, and you can talk to him and exchange your ideas directly. Yes, and so in the end, I want to show you a quote from Mara Griffiths. He is the CEO of the company which produce AR. And he said that the future of computer is not locked inside one of these screens. It's right here inside of us. So it means that if the technology is more familiar to us, we can control it and we can utilize it in a more efficient way. And this is my informative speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. So, Debbie, have you ever played Pokemon Go? Its function is so cool.
Well, actually, I never turned it on because I think it will slow down my CPU.
Well, it's such a shame. I think you should try. So let's welcome our next speaker, Jack.
Good morning, dear professors and my fellow classmates. I'm Jack. Did you drink last night? What was it about? Is it about you finally get a chance to stay with your secret crush? Is it about you win the lottery and become rich? Is it about you were chased by a monster? Well, or you don't even remember it. According to Stanford University professor and sleep researcher William C. Demmer, he said, dreaming permits each of and every one of us to be quietly and safely insane every night of our lives. So, how does dream work? Well, here's a map that tells about the mechanism of dreams. When we fall asleep, our muscles start relaxing. After that, our breathing pattern and our heart rate will become relatively slow. And then, we go on to a deep sleep mode. During a deep sleep mode, our brain will stop functioning, and our organs will function at the minimum level. After that, we move on to REM, which is also known as rapid eye movement. During this stage, your eyes will roll like crazy, and your brain will be back online, secretly, without telling you. So basically, it's like you're sleeping, but your body is working secretly. And during this stage, your brain will bring dreams to you. Then you will start dreaming. After this stage, you back to stage 1, and then proceed to stage 5 again, and back to stage 1, and proceed to stage 5 again. And you have these cycles for 4 to 5 times, or even more, every night. So, what are the psychological meaning of dreams? Well, according to famous psychologist Freud, he believes that a dream is a way for us to connect with our subconscious, to release our daytime pressure, and to release our primitive desires. Why? Well, it's pretty obvious. Because during daytime, we have to follow the social norm. We need to act properly, we need to behave like a civilized person. And we have to surpass all those desires, all those anger, all those emotions. So in order to release it, in order to have a balanced state of mind, during nighttime, we have to dream to release these desires. Also, according to anthropobiologists, dream is also a way for primitive people to practice their surviving skills. Because during daytime, primitive people need to worry about food, worry about clothing, worry about where they're going to live, or worry about whether they're going to be attacked by monsters or not. So in nighttime, they were using dream to practice surviving skills. However, nowadays, we do not need to practice surviving skills as common as before, since we live in a relatively stable society. As a result, dream become a way for us to practice our learning skills, to practice those skills that we learn in the morning time. Study has indicated that those who learn skills and go to sleep will perform better compared to those who do not go to sleep. So, can we categorize dreams? Can the content of dreams be analyzed systematically? Well, of course we can. According to research done by Case Western Reserve University in the United States, dream can be categorized into 4 different aspects. The first one would be the visual aspects. The visual content of dreams are usually highly hallucinated. It's far from reality. You may live in a world like full of gold, or live in a world full of unicorn, or a world you get to talk with your dead relatives, or maybe in a world that you're a superhero. And also, the emotion of dreams are usually negative. Well, it's no surprise, since I just mentioned dreams are a way for you to release pressure. So the emotion of dreams are usually negative. Well, sometimes you have positive emotions, but it's rare. So if you have positive dreams, cherish it. And also, dreams are highly sexual related. Well, don't be shy about it, especially for teenagers. Because for teenagers, our hormone level is relatively high. And during daytime, as I mentioned, we behave properly, so we can't do like any animal stuff. So during nighttime, we release our sexual desire through the form of dreams. Study also indicates that the color dreams, compared to black-white dreams, those who have color dreams, their mental state of mind are more stable, more healthier, compared to those who have black and white dreams. So, you ever heard the term lucid dreams? Lucid dreams is an idea that's been widely known from the movie Inception. And it's not just a movie, it's a real deal. Lucid dream, under this situation, the dreamer will be able to control the dream, to remember the dream, or even alter the dreams. So here are some methods for you to have lucid dreams, suggested by psychologists. First, you need to keep a dream journal. When you wake up, try to write down the details of dreams as much as you can. After that, in the daytime, when you're in the morning, use reality check frequently. So why is reality check? Well, it's basically when you're walking around, you can ask yourself whether you are awake or not, or you can hold the breath till you can't, to make sure you are in the reality. It sounds stupid, but when you're going to sleep, you can automatically adapt this method and realize, wow, I'm in the dreams. And the third way is that every time we are going to sleep, you can tell yourself that I will be aware of the fact that I'm dreaming. Also, you can study your dream journal to see if there's any pattern, any specific signs will occur while you're having dreams. So that when you're having a dream, you say, woo, that's the sign, I'm having a dream, good. And then maybe you can drift back to sleep. Maybe like when you, in the midnight, you wake up with some noises, you can drift it back. Then you can be aware of that you're sleeping, and you have greater chances to be aware of that you're dreaming. So next time when you have a dream, cherish it, don't be scared about it. If you have happy dreams, enjoy it. If you have a sex dreams, well, don't be shy, it's normal. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Wow, I never thought about why I dream or what it means before.
Yeah, I think we really learned a lot from Jack's speech.
Now, let's welcome our next contestant, Carlos.
Hi, I'm Carlos. We see these kind of tragedies every year, especially in summer in Taiwan. And according to Ministry of Health and Welfare, 54,000 people died because of drowning in the past 40 years. So today I'm going to tell you what should we do to avoid and deal with this kind of situation. And I, Carlos, nearly became one of the victims, and I will show you my story later. So after the introduction, I will share my story, my personal experience briefly. And in the body part, I will tell you what should we do before swimming and during someone's drowning and after the rescue. And last but not least, the conclusion part. So the story begins. My friends and I, we went to Hualien, a place called Mugumu, a very beautiful place as you can see on this slide. And when we get there, the boys, we got excited, we saw water, so we just took off our clothes and jumped into the water, having lots of fun. But all of a sudden, one of my friends, he was drowning. And at that time, I didn't think too much. I just stretched out my hand and tried to save him. But he dragged me into the water instead. And seconds later, another boy fell to save him and dropped into the water too. And next, the third guy, he jumped into the water, and this time we managed to swim to the coast and survive. So what can we learn from my story? First, you need to warm up. Warm up is very important. Even Michael Phelps has to warm up before he goes to swim. How dare you not to do it? And in Hualien, we didn't warm up our body. We just took off our clothes and jumped into it, which is very dangerous because our body and the muscles get strained easily without warm up. So it's very important. And next, make sure there is at least one of these things on this slide. A lifeguard or a life vest or a life buoy. These things are very important and they can help your life if you are in trouble under the water. And in Hualien, we didn't have one of these things, which is very, very stupid. So if there isn't any one of these, I suggest you not to go into the water. Okay, next. Before we learn what should we do during the drowning, we should know what does drowning look like. So when people find themselves drowning, they will enter a state of preservation, which is called instinctive drowning response. And as you can see on this picture, when people drowning, their head tilted back and their arms extend like this. And so they keep pressing down the water because they wanted to go up and take a breath. So the body is held vertically. And in this situation, you cannot control your movement. You cannot reach for other things because natural forces you to do this. And believe me, it's very painful and terrible. But actually, the process of drowning is very undramatic and silent, unlike the movie shows us. In reality, the victim cannot wait for help or scream. In movie, we often see like, oh, help me, help me. But in reality, that's not going to happen. So people who didn't get professional training, they can hardly tell if a person is drowning. Like me, at the beginning, I didn't know my friend was drowning. So I made my biggest mistake in my life. I gave him my hand and he dragged me into the water. But he didn't do it on purpose. The instinct made him do it. So what should we do when someone is drowning? As the victim, I would say try your best to stay calm. You have to relax your body. Because if you didn't relax your body, you will submerge more quickly. And as the observer, the first thing you have to do when you find someone is drowning is call for help as soon as possible. And then if you really have to go into the water to save the victim, first you need to warm up. And then bring a life vest or life buoy if there is one. And the most important thing is never ever swim to the front side of the victim because he or she will drag you into the water and press you down. So the best way to save a drowning person is swim over him like the picture shows us and hold him from the back. And then calm down the victim and swim to a safe place. Okay. And after the rescue, you have to make sure the victim is still alive. And if he lost his conscience, do the SOP of CPR. And if everyone is fine, make sure to dry your body because you will get caught easily since you are all wet. So in conclusion, in this speech, I'm not just telling you what to do while drowning in the water, but also while drowning in our lives. We face a lot of difficulties in our life, and I think we should face it and never give up. And there's a quote I want to share with you. God sometimes takes us into troubled waters, not to drown us, but to teach us. Thank you.
I always dream of some guy would rescue me when I was drowned. But I never thought that I would probably drag him down into the water too.
So it's clear that you need to learn how to save the drowning beauty in order to get a girlfriend, right? Okay, let's welcome our next speaker, Francis.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable guests, and my dear professors and fellow classmates. My name is Francis Lim, and today I'm not here to fix any problems, but to help you identify whether you are a shopaholic or not. in Okay. So to begin with, I have a confession to make. While other normal people have productive hobbies like reading, writing, and painting, I have a strong desire to go shopping. And what triggers my desire to go shopping? Well, anything and everything. If I beat the level 10 in Candy Crush, I deserve a new dress. No one ever hugs me, but my new sweater will. And sometimes people tell me that she having a boyfriend feels better than having a new pair of shoes. I'd say don't be ridiculous because shoes let me walk over them. And they are fabulous and stylish. No offense, but if I had a man who is fabulous and stylish, chances are he'd be gay. So, because this is why I love my shoes very much, because no matter how many times they come out of the closet, they still love me. Okay, so back to the point. Before realizing whether you are a shopaholic or not, you have to know what causes an addiction to go shopping. According to Bruce Engs from Indiana University, who studied in public health, she said that some people develop shopping addictions because they essentially get addicted to how their brain feels while shopping. And as they shop, their brain releases endorphins and dopamine, which are both chemicals that are associated with pleasure in your head. And gradually, these feelings become addictive. So, as a shopaholic myself, I would like to introduce several signs to help you recognize whether you are a shopaholic or not. So sign 1, you have many unopened or tagged items in your closet. We're not talking about the sweater your aunt gave you last Christmas or the birthday gift your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend gave you as a birthday gift, which happens to be a coat you have never worn since the breakup. But we're talking about the items you selected on your own, but it's still sitting unopened or with their tags attached. They are often forgotten by the buyers, and maybe there are a box of shoes lying under the bottom of your closet, or a jacket that haven't seen the light of day. And people might not be aware of these signs, but it is also an important sign of shopaholic. And sign 2, you often purchase things you don't need or didn't plan to buy. Shopaholics are usually tempted by items they seem very desirable or tempting. And for example, like the 7th candle you have for your bedroom dresser, or a new shiny iPhone case, or even another fluffy bear that already made your bed very crowded. And they often purchase these things not because of the necessity, but because of the willingness to buy. And sign 3, you experience a rush excitement when buying. People who are shopaholics experience an adrenaline rush when they see desirable items, and they tend to buy them down. And for example, for me, I like the duvet next to our school, and I often purchase like 7 or 8 items for my supper. But I'm not that hungry. But I'm not that hungry. But it always charged me like $150 or $200 more. But I'm not that hungry, but it makes me feel very satisfied with the heavy feelings I have if I take that bag into my door. And sign 4, purchases are followed by feelings of remorse. Shopaholics often feel guilty and anxious after they buy things which they don't really need. And the guilt may not be limited to big purchases or good bargains of fare. Instead, they often be guilty and they feel regret if they buy small things or good deals of little bargains. And
shopaholics are seen, and these signs are sometimes shopaholics conceal their shopping addiction. And if you tend to hide shopping items inside your sister or your brother's closet, then you might be a shopaholic because you tend to conceal the shopping items you have had or you doesn't need to buy. And sign 5, you feel anxious on days you don't stop. And we're not talking about a daily morning cup of coffee if you didn't get a morning cup of coffee and you feel anxious, but about the things if you didn't buy at one time and you didn't swipe your credit card all day and you will feel pretty anxious. And statistic has shown that shopaholics will be very anxious if they didn't swipe credit cards all day, and they feel they may be reported to admitted to online shopping if they can't physically draw away themselves to daily work. Okay, and in conclusion, if my friend you tend to match one of those signs I've mentioned before, then you are a shopaholic, and welcome to the club. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Catherine, you're definitely a shopaholic, right?
I cannot agree more. During a single shopping day, I bought 5 kilograms of clothes, even though I'm not single.
Oh my God, you're crazy. But I believe all women would love to be a shopaholic if we don't have to worry about money.
That's true. So let's welcome our next speaker, Coco.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Coco, and before I start my speech, I would like to start with some words and some phrases. The first one would be Lancelot. Next one, Guinevere, Excalibur, Camelot. Are these things ringing any bells? And Avalon, or Mordred, and Merlin, the Sword and Stone. This is actually an animation for Disney, and the Round Table of Knights. These phrases and words all share one thing in common. They come from the Arthurian legend. If you're not familiar with the Arthurian legend, it's the story of King Arthur. Now, why am I presenting this topic today is because many adaptations of films, television, theater, or works of literature, they assume a general knowledge of the story of King Arthur in their audience. However, that isn't the case in fellow students, because I did ask some people, and they might know the phrase King Arthur, they might know the Sword and Stone, but they're not really sure of the comprehensive story. So today I will tell you the story of King Arthur. This is the legend of King Arthur. So first we're going to start with his father. His father is Uther Pendragon. Now Uther Pendragon was a king with no wife, no son. However, there was another girl, her name is Igraine, and she was married to the Duke of Tintagel. Tintagel is a place, and the Duke is ruling over the place. And Uther Pendragon had a secret crush on Igraine. So he was thinking, how should I get this girl? So he decided to have a feast for the dukes, the nobles, and lords of Great Britain. And at the feast, Uther Pendragon kept on flirting with Igraine. Now the Duke of Tintagel, as the husband of Igraine, was really mad at this, but he couldn't say anything because Uther Pendragon was the king. So he decided to leave secretly with his wife. However, this was a royal feast, so leaving without official notice to the king was actually prohibited. So Uther Pendragon, he demanded them to come back, but the Duke decided no, he wasn't ready to do that. So Uther Pendragon sent troops over to Tintagel because he was angry, upset, and disappointed. He was angry with them leaving the party, he was angry, upset with not getting Igraine, and he was disappointed that the whole feast was held in name of Igraine, but he didn't get the girl. So he decided to turn to Merlin, because sending troops over to Tintagel wouldn't get him the girl. It would only be able to conquer Tintagel. So he went to Merlin and said, could you please help me get Igraine? And then Merlin said, all right, I will help, but on one condition. You have to give me your first child. Many people like to give people their first child with their promises, like in Rapunzel, Rumpelstiltskin. Some people keep their promises, but others don't. We'll see. So then Merlin said, all right, I have come up with a plan, and I am going to disguise you just as the Duke of Tintagel. So he made Uther Pendragon look just like the Duke. So Uther Pendragon snuck into the castle of Tintagel and he met Igraine, and Igraine was happy to see Uther Pendragon because she thought that he was the Duke. So then the next day they spent a night together and of intimacy and everything like that. And then the next day a messenger came and told Igraine the Duke has died in battle with the king's troops. And then she discovered, oh my gosh, that was actually the king. But she was still happy because he was the king. So they got married and they had a child named Arthur. Now King Arthur remembered the deal that Merlin said, you have to give me your first child. And really, Uther Pendragon gave his son over to Merlin, but he was depressed and unhappy and later he died. Uther Pendragon was the good king, so a lot of lords, after he died, a lot of lords and nobles, they began to battle over who was supposed to be the rightful king of the throne. So everyone was like, I should be the king, because I'm better than you. But then they couldn't come up with a conclusion, so they turned to Merlin, because Merlin was a really great wizard at the time, and then Merlin came up with this. He came up with the sword in stone. He said, whoever could pull out this sword, whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone, is the rightwise born king of all England. This was inscribed on the sword right here. A lot of people from afar came and tried to pull out the sword. Even the strongest men, they couldn't manage to do so. But later on, King Arthur was, when he was about 15 years old, Merlin decided to bring King Arthur toward this stone and ask him to pull out the sword, and he managed to do so. And in King Arthur's education, he was taught that knowledge is better than brute force. So he ruled with justice and mercy, and he ruled over the kingdom of Camelot. King Arthur also didn't have a wife at that time, but then later on he met Queen Guinevere. Now what is the importance of Queen Guinevere is that her father gave the round table as a wedding present to King Arthur. Now the round table is often associated with the knights of the round table, and in order to become a knight of the round table, you have to swear by the code of chivalry. Now the code of chivalry involves honor, honest, valor, and loyalty. Valor meaning courageousness and being bold and being able to do other things people can't. There are other laws that they have to abide to, but these are the main concepts. Okay, now what is special about this table? It is round, right? And it also signifies democracy and equality between all the knights and the king. Why is it so special? Because even Jesus didn't think of a round table in the Last Supper. It was a rectangular one. Okay, now moving on, let's talk about some of the famous knights in the story. We have Mordred, Percival, and Lancelot. Of course, there are other knights, but these are three significant ones that I'd like to talk about them today. So the first one is Mordred. Now Mordred has a special identity because before King Arthur met Queen Guinevere, there was a lady, an exquisite lady that came to the castle and knocked on one day at midnight. She said, it's raining outside, can I please have some place to stay? And because she was so exquisite, King Arthur said, sure, come in. And they spent a night together. However, they spent a night together, and the next day, this lady, Morgana, she left. But she was pregnant and she didn't tell King Arthur. So later on, she brought her son over to the castle and demanded that King Arthur make Mordred a knight. Next one is Percival. His significance is that he was destined to be in the pursuit of the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail means something that gives you eternal youth and happiness and things like that. There are different versions of the Holy Grail. Next one, I'd like to talk about Lancelot. Lancelot is a very famous knight in this King Arthurian legend, and he is actually very brave, and he said that I want to protect Queen Guinevere when she came. So later on, they had an affair. King Arthur was very angry, so he wanted to go and get them, so he chased them to France for revenge. But he could not leave the kingdom without any hands, so he left them in Mordred. But then Mordred, he was ambitious and declared himself as king and took Guinevere as wife. So later King Arthur came back and killed Mordred, but in the battle, he was also fatally wounded. And so he was whisked away to the land of Avalon, so he will awaken to defend Britain when Britain has need of him. And some say that when there is, heroes get remembered, but legends never die. King Arthur is not only a hero, but also a legend. If you want to catch a glimpse of this legend in the 21st century, please go into theaters on March 24th next year, and thank you everyone.
After Coco's introduction of King Arthur, I would really love to learn more about this legendary.
Then you should probably go to the movie next year. So let's welcome our next contestant, Alice.
Well, hello, dear professors and my dear classmates. Well, have you ever heard of this program's name, the X Factor, America's Next Top Model, and maybe Project Runway? Well, I believe some of us have heard this program's name before, and also Mac mentioned this speech before. But I have to say we have focused on different things. So yeah, it doesn't matter. So yes, today. My topic today is reality shows. Sometimes when I'm watching Project Runway, I'll ask myself a question. You are not a designer, you are not a student of Department of Design. But why on earth you love to watch reality TV shows so much? And that's why I choose this topic to be my informative speech. So here's my outline. First I will explain what is reality TV show. Then I will give you 3 possible vectors which maybe explain why people are so obsessed in watching these kind of shows. Then I will give you a conclusion. So first, what is reality TV show? Well, based on Wikipedia, a reality TV show is an unscripted real-life situations. The audiences are expected to see the real emotions from the candidates. So when the candidates on the show, they are crying because they are really, really sad. When they are happy because they win the grand prize and they are so happy about it, so they cry and they scream, and that's what the audience wants to see. The second one is the cast. The cast are not professional actors, just like you and me, just like normal people, you and me. And I think maybe why we want to watch this because we have a feeling, we have projected ourselves into those people. And because we didn't have so much talent like them, so we tend to watch reality shows to express this feeling. Then reality shows focuses on drama and personal conflict and also entertainment. For me, when I watch reality TV shows, I think it's watch soap opera and documentaries at the same time. Because reality TV shows not only recorded a person's life experience, but also it adds a lot of entertainment elements in it. That makes it so special. And the fourth one is it has unique environments, host and illumination, such as America's Next Top Model and Project Runway. It's always a climax, it's always an important part of the show to see who's gonna go of the process. So here's a graph shows the percentage of genres in the reality TV shows. As you can see, most of the TV production companies they want to or they love to produce documentaries genres because it creates more topics somehow. And this one is supernatural and travel aspirational. Then I will give you 3 possible factors that people want to watch reality TV shows so much. So first, it's pretty straightforward. It can provide a small talk between you and your friends. For example, if you and your friends both of you are big fans of Project Runway, and amazingly, you and your friends also fall in love with the same designer. So after the show finished every week, you can be able to have a small talk with him or her. And although the show must finish one day, a season must finish one day, you can still tracking the designer you love to see how has he done in his business and his new works. Next, it's all about competitive contents. According to psychology today, all humans have a desire called "I want to win." So everybody wants to be on top, and but however, some people may be a little shy, and they will think, well, I don't have any chances to win over somebody, or also somebody will want to take revenge on somebody else. So, but however, in the real life they don't have some opportunities for them to do so. So reality TV shows is a good way for them to express this kind of feeling, revenge, the revenge feeling. The third one is attention seekers. Now we have to put Keeping Up with the Kardashians into the picture. According to the research I have mentioned before, those people who love to watch Kim Kardashian's, Keeping Up with the Kim Kardashians, they want to be the king or queen in their social cycle. But however, they don't know the tips, they don't know how to. So they will watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and maybe they will get some useful tips from them. Because they are like normal people, just you and me. They walk, they eat. We walk and we eat, but they are celebrities, and they are the head of their social cycle, and they can maybe control the Americans' entertainment world. So that's why some people may fall in love with Keeping Up with the Kardashians because they want to be attention seekers. So in conclusion, watching reality TV shows doesn't mean you always want to revenge on somebody, or doesn't mean you want to be a head and queen of your social cycle. A little entertainment in our lives is fine. However, if everything goes too much, it will probably hurt ourselves a lot. So that's my speech today, and here's my references. Thank you for listening.
What an amazing coincidence! 2 out of 10 people talked about reality TV shows. It is apparently a craze.
So, which presentation do you like better?
Well, let's leave this question to the judges. Now, let's welcome our next contestant, Joy.
From Theresa May and Angela Merkel to Malala and Aung San Suu Kyi. For women, power is up for grabs. And over the past few decades, women do have exactly the same rights just as men in almost every country. However, do women really have the same opportunity just as men in every career? And are there as many female leaders as men in every profession? Recently, I have read a book called Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, a Facebook manager. And in this book, she mainly talks about 3 things: women and their personality, gender bias in our society, and women between their work and family. So today I'm going to use 3 different experiments in this book that impressed me the most to elaborate more on these 3 points. So the first one is that if today you ask boys and girls questions based on totally objective criteria, men will guess it wrong slightly higher, while women will guess it wrong slightly lower. So for example, if today you ask our beloved classmates Andy and Ivy about their GPA, Andy will guess it, probably they all get 3.5, but Andy will guess it 3.7, while Ivy will guess it 3.2. And this is because boys sometimes overestimate themselves and girls sometimes underestimate themselves. And if today you ask them, why are you so successful? Men like Andy will say, it's because of myself. They attribute their success to themselves. While women like Ivy will say, oh, it's because I'm lucky, it's because someone helps me. They attribute their success to external factors. And this too matters because our society, no one gets promoted, no one becomes leader because you're humble, because you attribute your success to other people, because you sit at the corner instead of at the table. And the second experiment is called the Haley-Howard experiment. And in 2002, a Columbia University professor has distributed a case study to everyone. This case study is about Haley. Haley is an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. She is sociable, she has all the potential characteristics, abilities to become a leader. And with her great social network, she really becomes a great leader. So the professor has gave all the students this case study. But half of them get this Haley case study. Another half of them get the exactly same case study with only one difference. That the professor changed the name Haley into Howard. So half of them get this Haley case study, half of them get this Howard case study. Everything is the same, just a name difference from a girl name to a boy name. And during the class, the teacher asks everyone about how they think about Haley and Howard. The good news is, they think they are equally competent. which they should be because they have the same story, same background, and same experience. But the bad news is, people love Howard. People think he is nice and charming, he is a great friend and a great leader. But for Haiti, they are not sure about Haiti. They think she is a little bit self-centered, a little bit political. You don't know whether you want to work for her or not. And this shows that our society, likable and success, are positively correlated to men and negatively correlated to women. Which means that if today a man becomes a leader, you love him. But a woman becomes a leader, you don't know. And the last one is a survey in Princeton University, surveying 270 students with a series of 8 questions. And I've also asked the same survey in National Taipei University, surveying 267 students. And there are some interesting results I would like to share with everyone. So the first one is that, do you think in the future you will become a leader in your career? And in Princeton University, the rate, boys 72%, girls 58% think that they will become a leader. And in National Taipei University, boys 68%, girls 60%. So although our school, we have a narrower gap, there is still a gap. And this gap is because that our society gives more opportunity to men than women when it comes to becoming a leader, when it comes to being in a managerial level. And women, they are less confident, so they think that they are less competent to become a leader. The second question is that if today you have a moderate salary, you also have a spouse and children, will you ask your spouse to quit jobs and just tell him or her to take good care of the family? In Princeton University, boys are 9 times higher than girls, while in National Taipei University, boys are 3 times higher than girls. And this is because that many men may consider their wife, they have not a really smooth career path, so why not just go home and take care of the children? But for women, why are they not trying to tell their husbands to quit their jobs? Because you have heard of housewife, but have you ever heard of house husbands? And the last one is that, do you think in the future your work and family will be conflicted? In Princeton University, boys 33%, girls 62%. And in National Taipei University, boys 36%, girls 53%. And this is because that our society, many people might consider taking good care of the family as the woman's duty. And this makes women will have the illusion that they probably need to take good care of this family. Therefore, they decided to quit their job no matter how long they have worked in their field, how long they have studied, and how much desire they have for their career dream. So in conclusion, with these 3 experiments, the first GPA experiment shows that women sometimes lack confidence, making them less likely to become a leader. The second, the Haley-Howard experiment shows that gender bias still exists in our society in 21st century. And the last one, the survey between Princeton University and National Taipei University shows that women will choose family over work no matter how long they have worked in their career. And in conclusion, Sheryl Sandberg in this book said that she hopes our generation can fix all these problems. As she mentioned, in the future, there will be no female leaders. There will just be leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, George. I'm impressed that the subject is actually about every one of us.
True, I think it's more convincing, the number truly reflect our society.
Thank you, Joy, for your intriguing research. And now let's welcome our last contestant, Jia Yu.
Ladies and gentlemen, first let me say that
The pointer, the other side, front, yes. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, first let me say that truthfully, I intended this to make a persuasive speech because I see the poster, so maybe it will not be as informative as the others. So first, before I say about the power of imagination, which is my title for today, let us see the first picture. What do you see in this picture? If you focus on the black side, you can see that a man is playing a saxophone. But if you focus on the white side, then you will see the face of a woman, maybe wearing a hat, and the picture is only up to her neck. How do you perceive 2 different kinds of things in one picture? The answer is simple.
It's because of perception. Perception is what we feel, what we see, and we know what that is. For example, when I see a human over here, and I know that she's a woman and not a man, that is called the perception. But there is a deeper level of perception, and that is called interpretation. Interpretation is when we analyze the perception. So, when I see a woman and she has a black hair and black eyes, that means that she is an Asian. The interpretation and perception, as we know, is really important in our daily life because it affects how we interact with other people. It affects our relationship with other people. So, why do we interpret things differently? Imagination. Is it the main factor that affects the perception and interpretation in our daily life? For example, when I went to the zoo last year and I see a little boy with their parents and their big family, and their big family asked him, "Hey, what do you want to see the most in a zoo?" He was kind of like an elementary school kid, still so small, so I didn't expect his answer. He says that what I want to see is this, a dragon in the zoo. When I heard it, I was trying my best to not laugh because a dragon in a zoo, can you believe that? Of course not. And that's the end of the story, but this is a small case. So, if you use imagination for a bigger case, a major case such as racism, if you plant ideas into other people's head, what do you think will it become? Albert Einstein once says that imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, but imagination encircles the entire world. Why? I have the proof right here for you to see. Imagination will bring creation, and it brings two major creations. The first creation will be invention. Invention is such as when we make an airplane, the Wright brothers, they make an airplane. Why? Because they believe that humans could fly. Alexander Graham Bell invented telephones because they believe humans could interact without meeting face to face. And Galileo Galilei invented telescope because he believed there's something above the skies. So imagination brings invention. But there is not only invention, it also brings creation and creativity. It brings out the creativity in other people's lives. J.K. Rowling, they move people's heart with her words. Or maybe we heard the Michael Jackson song and we are touched by it. And it is the result of imagination. We wouldn't recognize the sound as a song if we don't have imagination. So imagination plays a significant role in our lives. But the imagination that will really move the world is the weird imagination. It needs to be wonderful, exciting, interesting, real, and different. So the imagination is not only a normal imagination, but it needs to be a weird imagination. I have a German philosopher's quote right here, and he says that there are no facts, only interpretation. Because I thought of it, and I think that, for example, history. A history is made based on the researchers found of the remains. Maybe when he found the first human, the Homo sapiens, it was because they found the remains of their skeletons, and they imagined what kind of life they had before. So imagination also plays a role in the facts. So believe it or not, imagination plays a significant role in our life, and it really would move the world in a way you could never imagine, in a way that you could never stop. So that is the power of imagination. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. I think it's really interesting that everyone has different perspectives due to their imagination.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Now we're going to have a 20-minute intermission break.
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Francis
语时间是5分33。
哦，OK，因为扣分是有计分员，所以 it's fine。Thank you。Go to your break。